Prompt engineering is the general skill of getting an AI model to do what you want by asking it the right questions or giving it the right commands, right? And we actually had something very similar in the past. When search engines first appeared, you started seeing people who were experts at forming just the right search queries to get the output that they want to see. And we actually had competitions in search prompting, where some people were really good at finding complex things that are hidden somewhere in one particular location of the internet just by formulating the right query for a search engine, right? Prompt engineering of AI models is much easier than that, because you don't have to use advanced operators or other weird things that we did in search engines. You just use human language. But you have to figure out what to ask in order to get the right result. It's kind of similar to how you get humans to tell you what you need to know by asking the right questions. So it's a very transferable skill. If you're good at talking to humans, you will definitely be good at prompt engineering. But you have to also understand that you're dealing with a very unusual human here, because it's not a human, right? So you have to figure out what the quirks are, and maybe your prompts have to actually tell it to avoid a certain quirk. Maybe even if you tell it to avoid a certain quirk, it cannot avoid that because it's built into that model, which is why you need to understand a little bit about how the models work under the hood. If you do that, you'll formulate a query that actually tells the AI model what path to take to avoid that quirk, because it just cannot do that by itself. I had one good example. I was trying to make ChatGPT write articles, and whatever I tried, I couldn't get it to do direct quotations in the right style that I wanted. It seems like all the text it learned on included a style of direct quotations that I really wanted to avoid, which is to have saying, comma, and then the quote. I wanted it to always start sentences with a quote and then said, so-and-so said, the way that most journalists would do. I couldn't get it to do that with regular asking. But with correct prompting techniques, you can actually give it examples in the prompt itself that would get it to produce things in the right style. So that's a simple example. Maybe most people don't actually care about which style the quotations are in, but the point is, with the right request, you can get the outputs you want, and that is a very valuable skill in the marketplace right now. You could think that a prompt engineer plus AI can basically do the work of a lot of skilled professionals much faster than that skilled professional would do that same thing. A prompt engineer that doesn't know French can be a really good French translator. A prompt engineer that isn't a very good writer can actually work as a blogger and make a decent amount of money in it, because he writes those blog posts way faster than an actual blogger. So you can extend that to almost every profession you can think of where the output is words. Prompt engineering plus model is generally a decent approximation of what a person who is a professional at this would do, unless the profession requires some additional skills that that person would not have. AI engineer is one of the least well-defined professions right now. Everybody uses that term, but they mean completely different things. Some companies, when they say that, just mean prompt engineering. Some companies mean a back-end engineer that can write in Python and understands a little bit of AI. And some people mean a machine learning engineer who actually is basically a mathematician that understands how to build and construct and fine-tune models from scratch. So I would read the job description more carefully to figure out what this particular company thinks it means, because it's not a well-defined term. If you were to ask me, I would say, since we have ML engineer as the person who understands and builds the models themselves, then I would describe an AI engineer as somebody who knows how to use Python to chain AI models together with something else, right? Essentially, a back-end engineer with a certain amount of experience dealing with AI systems. But that's not the only definition in the marketplace right now.
Okay. Which